President Trump is set to officially start his re-election campaign tomorrow in Florida. Leaked polls from his own campaign show it's one of several key states where he trails potential Democratic challenger Joe Biden. Mr. Trump calls the polls fake. His campaign says they were created to test a worst-case scenario for the president.
Our first CBS News 2020 Battleground Tracker poll shows likely Democratic voters prefer Biden as their first choice to go head-to-head with Mr. Trump. Weijia Jiang is at the White House. Weijia, how else is the Trump campaign responding to this leaked polling data?
Oh, good morning, Tony. CBS News has learned the Trump campaign fired several pollsters after those internal polling numbers were leaked. Tomorrow, President Trump is planning to hold a big festival and rally for his re-election run in Orlando, Florida, a state that helped propel him to victory in 2016. But it's not a given in 2020.
I don't think anybody's done more in 2.5 years than what I've done.
President Trump says he's not relying on a pitch to persuade voters to re-elect him because his record is plenty.
Safety, security, great economy, and I think I've done more than any other first-term president ever.
But 2020 comes with new challenges. The Trump campaign's internal polling shows the president trailing former Vice President Joe Biden in critical battleground states, 39 to 55% in Pennsylvania, 41 to 51 in Wisconsin, and by 7 points in Florida. The Trump team says the poll is from March, though Mr. Trump has repeatedly denied it existed at all.
Those polls don't exist, George. Those polls don't exist.
Still, he's zooming in on Biden.
He's still leading the polls on the Democratic side. It's tightening up a little bit. And
it's tightening up a lot, which is interesting.
But he's still beating you, according to the polls.
Well, I don't believe those polls.
The new CBS News Battleground Tracker shows 55% of likely Democratic voters are considering supporting Biden, with Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, and Bernie Sanders on his heels. This weekend, the candidates looked past each other and went after President Trump.
Somebody who actually served in the military when it was his turn. Somebody with a totally different style, like me, is about as opposite as it gets.
I think, frankly, I am the strongest candidate to defeat Trump.
Our CBS News Battleground Tracker shows that is the right strategy. 69% of Democrats say they want to hear their candidates talking about beating President Trump in 2020, while just 31% want to hear about trying to impeach him. The president appeared to reference the poll in this tweet last night, claiming almost 70% say don't impeach. But the poll only asked what Democrats want their candidates to talk about, not what they want them to do. Tony?
All right, Weijia, thank you. And I want to bring in CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto, who's here at the table with us. Anthony, we are a year and a half ahead of an election. What's the point of an internal poll so far out?
Messaging. Because you're right, it's a year and a half away. Things can change. But the campaigns do this so they can figure out how to launch their campaign, what to talk about, and what voters want to hear in order to move the needle. That's really the most important part of polling at this point.
Yeah, find something out about the... Go ahead.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but remember the election that comes first, which is the Democrats who need to pick a candidate to go against the president. And, you know, they see them testing against Joe Biden. There's a reason for that. And it's because Joe Biden is leading that field in our polling. But I will add that when you ask people who they're considering voting for, not just who they're voting for, because that election's a while away too.
Yeah.
Well, you see, it's not just Biden, but there's also Harris in the mix, Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. All of those are in voters' minds as they're sort of kicking the tires.
Everybody seems to still be working out their messaging. We're going to be working out our analysis on the polls in the 8 o'clock hour with Anthony. You'll be back.
You got it.
That's in the next hour. For more on the first CBS News 2020 Battleground Tracker poll. In that poll, we asked thousands of Democratic voters in the earliest primary and caucus states what they're looking for in a candidate. That is ahead.